For morning news, a major hotspot underway here in the East Bay and Walnut Creek, affecting both directions. The accident was first reported here at Treat Boulevard, but it's actually closer to North Main Street. And it appears as though we may have more lanes blocked in the southbound direction than north. And all lanes are definitely affected here, with the backup now starting to reach toward Martinez in the southbound direction. Northbound traffic backed up into the Walnut Creek interchange. Avoid this stretch of Interstate 680 if at all possible. Use Walnut Creek. You are looking at the southbound lanes of Interstate 680, which are completely shut down at North Main Street. Traffic being routed off the freeway to the North Main Street exit and then put back on. Traffic southbound is already backed up beyond Highway 4. Avoid Walnut Creek because it's jammed up in both directions. On the Cron 4 Morning News, what a hot spot in Walnut Creek. Southbound Interstate 680 shut down. Northbound effectively shut down with lanes blocked there. And this is a real mess. Cron 4's Jackie Sissel on the scene. Jackie, we've seen a lot of accidents. This is a nasty one, isn't it?
It is a nasty one. And the first thing I have to say, George, is a bit of good news. Nobody seriously hurt in this accident. Apparently it involved not only this big rig, but maybe because a large amount of diesel fuel spilled in the lanes of traffic. Now, as you said, effectively northbound or southbound 680 is shut down at North Main. What they're doing is, as you can see, they're taking the lanes of traffic off North Main, sending them down the on-ramp, and then redirecting them back onto the freeway down there, one car at a time. The hope is that Caltrans is going to be able to get that absorbent down, get the street sweeper out here, clear at least one or two lanes, and open those lanes up, they hope, relatively shortly in the southbound direction. Now, as far as the northbound direction, there are two lanes shut down right now. The wreckers just showed up, but it is a double big rig that, as I said, has a load of dirt. They're going to have to deal with that dirt. The center divide has been crushed. Caltrans is going to want to fix that, obviously, before they fix it. Right now, it's a traffic nightmare in all directions out here on 680 if you can avoid it. As I said, the good news is no one seriously hurt in this accident. George?
All right, thank you, Jackie. And just a quick look at the traffic maps to show you the extent of the backup. Southbound lanes open once they've managed to deal with the fuel spill. On the scene for us now is Cron 4's Jackie Sissel. And Jackie, I know you've had a chance to talk to the CHP to get more details about this accident and their cleanup plans.
I have, George. The good news is nobody was hurt in this accident. As you said, this big rig was traveling northbound on 680 right past North Main when somehow it got into an accident, jumped over the center divide, and ended up in the southbound lanes, effectively shutting down all lanes of traffic in the southbound direction. Now, I just asked them if they had a time estimate. Right now, George, they're not even willing to give an estimate. They say it's going to be several hours. This big rig not only jumped over the center divide, crushing the concrete barrier, but also spilled its load. It was a load of dirt. I don't know how much dirt was inside of there, but obviously that has to be cleaned up before they're able to upright this vehicle and get it out of the way. Now, there may have been as many as 5 vehicles involved in this. As I said, nobody was injured. Here's a ground shot looking back on northbound 680. 2 lanes are shut down this way, and it's going to be that way for a while in the northbound direction. You can see how much traffic is impacted by this. Southbound lanes, they hope, as you said earlier, they're going to be able to open at least 1 lane, maybe 2 in the southbound direction, and start moving traffic in the next half hour or an hour. It's all predicated on how quickly they can do this. There was a diesel spill along with that dirt. It's a mess out here, George. If you can, avoid the area at all costs.
That's the very best advice, Jackie, and hard to do because...
You can see how badly backed up it is. That's because 2 lanes in the northbound direction are also blocked on it. Now, as you said, you can see that big rig is on its side. It was also carrying a load of dirt, which you can see right there. The problem being they're going to have to get that dirt out of the way, then upright this thing, get it off the center divide, and then Caltrans is going to have to do a temporary fix on that center divide before they reopen the lanes of traffic. So you're looking at several more hours before this is completely cleared out. George?
Jackie, a quick question here now. Was this a single tractor or was this a set of doubles?
It is a single. It is a single. You can see there he had a dump truck in it. Originally it came out as a double. And it was hard to tell from where we were originally at because it was on its side and we were on the other side of it. Now you can see it is a single, but you can see it's in 2 lanes of traffic in both directions. So that's really the problem. They're going to have to get those tow trucks in there. You can see all the work that's going on. Essentially, it shuts down 3 lanes of traffic, and then they're going to have to clean up the dirt, and then they're going to have to fix that center divide.
And we've got Jackie, as we say, on the scene talking with the officers there. They're also communicating with the Traffic Management Center, because when I spoke with the officer there, he said, you know, George, this is not going away anytime soon, so at least 2.5 to 3 hours before we see this cleared up. All right, here's your way around Walnut Creek, and it is jammed up in both directions. Look at the mess here that crews are dealing with. We heard Cron 4's Jackie Sissel tell us that they were going to have to bring in a front loader, and that's what they're doing now, trying to deal with the dirt that was spilled when this dump truck overturned after crashing through the center divider. These are the northbound lanes. It went through the center divider. That's why lanes are blocked both southbound and northbound, and it's jammed up in both directions. I'm going to ask Jackie to tilt his camera there a bit for us, and you'll see this is the northbound ride. Believe it or not, it is back. This is North Main Street. It's backed up all the way through Walnut Creek, back beyond the Highway 24 interchange, and backed up on 680 northbound, almost here, and actually considerable progress is being made by the crews on the scene, because they have managed to get this dump truck back on its wheels, even across the center divider. And there you see the front loader working to pick up the spilled dirt that was dropped when this rig overturned. These are the northbound lanes of Interstate 680, and the truck crashed through the center divider, overturning, and that's why we've been blocked in both directions. Joining us now on the Cron 4 Newsline, Officer John Franson of the California Highway Patrol. Officer, thank you for being with us. Tell us what happened this morning.
Yeah, we've been working diligently with Caltrans to get this all cleaned up at about 6:40 a.m. We had a minivan that was electrically cut off, spun around, and a BigRig that wound up flipping the front end of that minivan as it faced southbound and the northbound lanes. The BigRig was traveling northbound. It wound up going through the dividing wall, picked up a bunch of debris, had 5 other vehicles strike that debris, so right now it's just a matter of getting that BigRig out of here, getting the center divider out, and we're looking at about 2 hours to get traffic flowing again.
I'm sorry, your phone was cutting up a little bit, so could you say again, please, how long you think it'll take before you're able to clear it?
About 2 to 3 hours before we get all lanes opened up. Right now we have the 5 and 6 open on the southbound side.
That's right. So about 2 to 3 hours now. So that would put it at between 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock before they're able to get it out of there. And you can see in this live picture, here's one of the challenges they're going to have is there's the front set of the trucks, the front trucks and rear trucks, and they're going to have to get it. There's the center divider. That's in the way. They're not just going to pull it from one side to the other. So they may end up having to lift this trailer over that center rail in order to clear it. Definitely a lot of challenges, but as we heard Officer Franson say, they have made considerable progress. There are a lot of agencies out there cooperating. Fire department on the scene. Those guys do everything, don't they? Caltrans and CHP and the tow truck drivers. 3 hours now been tracking this hotspot on Interstate 680 in Walnut Creek, and this is a major problem, and we are still blocking lanes in both directions. So northbound and southbound 680 here at North Main Street, still a mess, and this is a solid wall of traffic. That northbound ride backed up all the way into Danville now through Alamo. So again, we've been saying it looks like an afternoon commute. So here you see that front loader is picking up the dirt that got spilled by this BigRig that slammed through the center divider from the northbound lanes into the southbound lanes of Interstate 680. So with lanes blocked in both directions, backed up for miles in each direction, this truck was overturned. They managed to get it righted, but they still have much to do. That's why the CHP thinks it will be between 2.5 and 3 hours before they're able to get this cleared out of the way. A look at the backup here from the traffic map. See, backed up into Danville. Southbound traffic has stayed fairly consistent. 25 still tracking a major hotspot. No change here on Interstate 680 in Walnut Creek at North Main Street. The backup actually growing a bit in the northbound direction all the way back now to Danville for the northbound ride. And southbound traffic still backed up to just beyond Highway 4. Lanes are blocked in both directions. Daria?
Thanks a lot, George.
Who's been working to keep us informed. Jackie, these guys ought to become members of the Not Kidding Around Club. They are really working to get this thing cleared, aren't they?
They're doing a great job, George. This incident is about 3 hours old, but considering what they had to deal with, they have made tremendous progress in just the last half hour. Now, if you remember, this thing had rolled over and was laying halfway across the North Bay lanes and the southbound lanes. Well, they've separated the two, the big rig from the tractor trailer, and they've gotten them both pulled off the center divide. You can see right there that center divide that is basically demolishing that one area. Now, they still have to get these things towed away. There's still some dirt left in the roadway here that they're going to have to clear out, but considering where they started, George, they're making great progress. Their first estimates were somewhere around 11 o'clock. That gives them another hour and a half or so to get this thing cleared out, and it looks like they're on track to make that.
All right, and we'll be, of course, staying with this right until the end of the broadcast to keep you apprised of how they're doing. Bear in mind, though, that with lanes blocked in both directions, we are still very badly backed up here. Take a look at the traffic maps, and you'll see backed up beyond Livorno on 680 in the north, right on Interstate 680. And despite the considerable progress that's been made, there's still so much to do that it looks as though we are right on track. I just spoke with Jackie Sissel, who's been at the scene, and they are still saying that it will be between 11 and 12 o'clock before they will get the lanes here reopened. They are doing work on the K-rail, the center divider that was damaged. And what Jackie has learned from the crews on the scene, the Caltrans personnel, is that they are not going to effect a permanent repair, but instead put in a temporary section of K-rail in order to keep the divider continuous all the way through, and then at an appropriate time they'll get back in to make the repairs. But they still have to tow this trailer out of the way. They have to tow the tractor out of the way, which you see here. It's now loaded up onto a flatbed. It looks as though this big rig tow truck will be moving to clear out the trailer. So there's a sweeper getting into place. That's, of course, always a good sign. But lanes are backed up still in both directions. Take a look at the traffic maps. We are still backed up into Alamo, Martinez, Concord, completely solid here. So is the ride on